All right, guys, welcome to week 4 of NTI. This week, we're going to be examining how authors use symbols to convey their themes and stories. So today is this instruction. I'm also going to read the lottery for you guys, but I'm going to do that in a different video. So you have to Tuesday and Wednesday with the story of the lottery. There are some questions at the end, theme and symbols. There are actually only 4 questions. I should change this. And then Thursday and Friday, I want you to work on your all rights reserved work, flip grid responses and replies for that, and then section 4 questions, which are all symbols. So here we go. This week, I'm going to continue with these later hours for Google Meet because I tend to see you guys more. So Monday 3 to 4, Tuesday 4 to 5, Wednesday 3 to 4, Thursday 4 to 5, and Friday 1 to 2. That way you all can get it before some work is done. For this week's reading, you should be reading between the chapters Replevin, $27.99, and Scorn, $36.99. And next Thursday, you're reading from Seasons, $37.99, to A Change in Scheduling, $46.96. So this video is going to be talking themes and symbols, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the lottery, and we'll talk about our work for the week. Symbolism can be kind of tough to grasp sometimes, especially if we don't understand what's going on in the world around us, but it's where the author uses an object or a word or maybe even a person to represent some abstract idea. That can be an action, a person, a place, a word. All of these things can have symbolic meaning, but we kind of have to dig in order to find it. So it really helps the audience draw parallels between these characters or events in the story and then our lives. Because almost every story is written for a reason. It's not simply to entertain, but they're to teach too. So it's a really easy way for the author to make us analyze ourselves or think about the problems going on in the world rather than just coming out and saying, hey, this is an issue. In The Telltale Heart, the narrator kills an old man because he doesn't like his eye. And he seems really proud of himself for that. But throughout the rest of the story, we hear this beating heart. And he assumes that that beating heart is the man's heart under the floorboards, but what it really is his own heartbeat because he's nervous. So in that story, the beating of the heart is simply symbolizing the guilt of the narrator, and it eventually causes him to give himself up because he felt so guilty. Now, that may be pretty easy to grasp in a story like that, but we also have a lot of symbols in our lives that we could learn lessons from. For instance, some basic ones, your phone. Your phone symbolizes communication. You're able to talk to whoever you want to with anybody around the world. So it could be your family or friends, but it could also be somebody in a completely different country. Your car. When you learn to drive, you are able to be unchained. You can go drive anywhere, and that's independence. Then you have TV or video games, and in a time like this where we're all binging Netflix and playing video games to escape the world around us, it really gives us that feeling of freedom that we could get from being the hero in a story. School and books, those typically symbolize knowledge because they give you knowledge in your brain. Trophies can symbolize success. It shows us our past successes that we can literally put on a shelf and be like, hey, this is that one time that I did this. Hugs and kisses very easily symbolize love. We hug people and kiss people that we love and want to show those feelings for. Jewelry, whether that's chains or diamonds, that symbolizes wealth. So a lot of people like to show their wealth off by wearing it on them. In a lot of stories, doves, the white birds, those symbolize peace. And then in real life, we all wear symbols when we're married that are supposed to represent dedication, loyalty, love, the fact that it's a circle and it's never ending. That's literally what it symbolizes. It's in a lot of wedding vows. Now, let's think about the story from last week. In Lamb to the Slaughter, the leg of lamb is the biggest symbol of the story. So a lamb is a baby sheep. Look how cute this is. This baby sheep shows innocence. It can do nothing wrong. A lamb has always shown innocence, typically in stories. And then a baby itself is innocence. So when we take a leg of this and we're going to eat it, right? It's just food. But if we think a little bit deeper, Miss Maloney kills her husband with this lamb leg, and then it's eaten. and that hides the murder weapon. So Miss Maloney, who starts off as this wonderfully innocent, kind, compassionate person, loses her cool, kills her husband, and then hides the weapon. And you can see throughout the story that she starts nice, she becomes more menacing as she kills him and then plans to hide it. And by the end of the story, the leg of lamb is gone, just as Mrs. Maloney's innocence is gone. Now, if we want to be a little more basic, the leg of lamb can be seen as revenge, because Miss Maloney did want to use it to show her love for her husband, to cook him dinner when he wasn't feeling good. But instead, she uses it to kill him after he wrongs her and says that he's cheating or he's going to leave her or whatever that is. We can see from symbols and stories that lessons are learned. So Mrs. Maloney kills her husband with that leg of lamb. We see that because she is wronged, she loses her innocence. When a person is wronged, they lose their innocence to get revenge. Or a person may not be as innocent as they seem, just like that leg of lamb is not nearly as innocent as it seems, just a piece of food in the oven. It's the murder weapon. So when we're learning lessons, we are thinking theme. Theme is another abstract idea. Okay, so we have many things that people can relate to and learn from and relate to our own lives. We should be able to take a theme from any story and connect to it. So it's really important that we pull out first that universal idea. Maybe it is exactly what that symbol represents, innocence. But we can ask, what is the author trying to teach us about innocence? And that's where we come up with our theme, which is that lesson they're trying to teach us. And we do have the theme rules. We've gone over them for a few weeks, but here they are again. In the story we're reading this week, it's called The Lottery. The Lottery was written in 1948, just after World War II, by a lady named Shirley Jackson. Now, this era of American culture glorified war, and it allowed people to alternate between these two different personalities, this patriotic, loving citizen as I will defend my country, and a person who's hateful and violent towards those who challenge our freedoms and cultures. So we're being patriotic, which is really nice, but we're also being kind of hateful and judgmental to people that aren't us. And there are these traditions in war, like this blind loyalty, that are kind of odd. So Shirley Jackson kind of is interested in the idea that people protect themselves as long as they're not affected by something. Is an allegory, which means it can be interpreted to reveal a hidden moral or political meaning. So the author is criticizing something about society as a whole. Now, in the story, we have this box. This box is the most important symbol because it is the main part of the ritual. And its appearance, as well as the townspeople's attitude toward the ritual, can help us see their feelings on old traditions. You may want to think about that. Old Man Warner, a character in the story, shows us an older generation's attitude towards rituals and customs, which we can directly apply to our lives when we think about older people's feelings about certain things. And while reading, I do want you all to notice how the tone bounces back and forth from relaxed to anxious. And like I said, I'll be reading this in a different video, so you can follow along with me or you can read it yourself. Okay, so Tuesday or Wednesday, I want you to read or listen to the story if you haven't already. In the story, I've highlighted with 3 colors. You have green showing you the symbol of the box, yellow showing you the ritual itself and all the parts of it, and then orange is tone, where it does bounce back between relaxed and anxious. At the end of the story, there are 4 questions. I want you to answer those in your DA sheet using claim, reason, evidence, and explanation, and you need to use complete sentences when doing that. The questions are here. Number 1 is about symbolism. I want you to take a close look at Jackson's description of the black wooden box, which is paragraph 5, and of the black spot on the fatal slip of paper, which is paragraph 72. It's towards the end. What do these objects suggest to you? Why is the black box described as battered? What does the box symbolize in the story? I want you to think about tradition and how everybody's kind of feeling about tradition and the point of it. Number 2 is about theme. What message or theme do you think the author is trying to convey to the readers? And how does that message connect to our society today? I want you to provide an example from our society today. Number 3, what role does Old Man Warner, the oldest man in town, play in the story, and what does he symbolize in our society? And number 4, why do you think the townspeople still participate in the ritual, even though it clearly makes them uneasy? Are there any customs or routines in our society that people participate in without really knowing what they mean? There are a lot of possibilities for that answer. So again, if you have questions, you just ask me. Okay? Doing that. Great. We'll be using the same story next week too. That way I'm not overloading you with too many stories. And Thursday and Friday, you have your section 4 questions for all rights reserved. Those are all symbols. I want you to take the symbols that I provide or another one that you find in each of the chapters and try to figure out what they're trying to say about our society. Because we're dealing with I-chit, which is something Speth takes from someone else. We see Kel's pad, which has access to all kinds of information. There's silence, obviously, that's what this entire book is about. So the use of language. So what is the author trying to tell us about our society? I want you to try to compare those two things. And for your flip grid this week, obviously you create and read your questions, you express your thoughts on the section, but we're going to focus on symbols. So what do you think this book seems to be saying to us about the importance of words and language, money, wealth, and how do those things connect to us? And by Friday or Saturday, try to reply to 2 people in your class. And over our Google Meets this week, people let me know that they're not able to see the replies. So what I think you all should be doing then is recording a new video. And I want you to make your new video titled My Reply to Name and Name. So you can name your 2 people in the title, and then you just restate and answer one of each of their questions. Your video, your reply does not need to be 5 minutes. It can be 1 minute, 2 minutes. That's it. Don't get crazy. So that takes us to the end of the week. All of that is due this Friday. Your theme and symbol questions using claim, reason, evidence, your questions over symbols for the book, and your flip grid. If you have questions, I'll be on Google Meet to help you. Anything else? Let me know. All right, guys.